The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, Book Summary. Introduction to the Housemaid. In a world full of secrets, nothing is ever as it seems. Freida McFadden's psychological thriller The Housemaid takes readers on a heart-pounding ride through lies, manipulation and twisted human behavior. The story follows Millie Calloway, a down-on-her-luck woman who stumbles into what seems like the opportunity of a lifetime, working as a live-in housemaid for a wealthy family. But behind the gleaming mansion walls lurks something dark and sinister. What starts as a second chance at life quickly turns into a fight for survival. As layers are peeled back and secrets unravel, Millie must decide whether she will become a victim, or a master of the game. McFadden creates a gripping narrative filled with tension and suspense. Each chapter is like a ticking clock, pulling the reader deeper into a maze of lies and manipulation. The book isn't just a thriller, it's a brilliant psychological puzzle that keeps you guessing until the last page. With unreliable characters, sharp dialogue and jaw-dropping twists, The Housemaid is a tale of power, class and the darkness that hides in plain sight. Millie Calloway, a woman with nothing left to lose. Millie Calloway is the kind of protagonist you root for. She's struggling. She's been to prison. She's desperate for work and barely surviving. With nowhere to go and no one to turn to, she finds herself living in her car. Then one day she stumbles upon a job listing that sounds too good to be true. A rich family is looking for a live-in housemaid. Free room and board. A salary. A fresh start. What does she have to lose? When Millie arrives at the Winchester home, she is struck by its size and elegance. The house is huge, the family seems picture-perfect, and everything looks like a dream. But dreams can easily turn into nightmares. From the moment Millie steps inside the mansion, nothing feels right. The house is immaculate but cold. The husband, Andrew Winchester, is handsome and charming. His wife Nina is stunning but erratic. And their young daughter, Cecilia, has a strange sadness in her eyes. Still, Millie takes the job. She's not in a position to ask questions or turn down opportunities. She tells herself it's just a job. Keep your head down, do the work, don't ask questions. But that's easier said than done. A perfect family, or a perfect lie. At first, Millie tries to adjust. She cleans, cooks, and takes care of Cecilia. But soon she starts noticing strange things. Nina behaves in bizarre and unpredictable ways. One minute she's friendly and generous, the next she's cruel and explosive. She screams over small mistakes, accuses Millie of things she didn't do, and plays mind games that leave Millie constantly on edge. The house is not just a workplace, it's a minefield. Cecilia also shows signs of distress. She's shy, fearful, and clearly disturbed by her mother's behavior. But whenever Millie tries to understand what's going on, she's met with silence or confusion. Andrew, meanwhile, presents himself as the calm in the storm. He sympathizes with Millie and apologizes for Nina's behavior. He tells Millie that his wife is mentally ill, unstable, and on the brink of collapse. He even suggests that he stays in the marriage only for the sake of their daughter. At first, Millie believes him. Andrew seems like the only sane person in the house. He listens to her, comforts her, and slowly draws her in. He's kind, soft-spoken, and attentive. For a woman as vulnerable as Millie, it's easy to fall under his spell. But things aren't always what they seem. The walls start closing in. Over time, Millie starts to feel like a prisoner. The door to her attic room locks from the outside. Her phone disappears. She's watched constantly. Nina accuses her of theft, of flirting with Andrew, of trying to ruin their family. The gaslighting becomes unbearable. One moment Millie is convinced she's the victim of a paranoid woman, and the next she wonders if she's losing her own mind. But the most chilling discovery comes when Millie realizes she's not the first housemaid to work for the Winchesters. The last one disappeared without a trace. No one talks about her. No one knows where she went. And when Millie finds traces of the woman's belongings hidden away in the attic, she realizes the job she thought would save her might actually kill her. Despite her fear, Millie begins to gather clues. She finds a note hidden behind the wallpaper, a cry for help from the previous maid. She pieces together small fragments that paint a picture of abuse, control, and manipulation. And the deeper she digs, the more she realizes that Nina might not be the crazy one after all. Twists that hit like a sledgehammer. Just when Millie is ready to run, everything turns upside down. The biggest twist in the book hits with full force: Andrew is not the victim. He's the villain. The charming husband isn't staying in a marriage out of pity. He's the one creating chaos. The one who controls everything. He's abusive, dangerous, and has crafted a perfect facade to hide his darkness. Nina isn't insane, she's trapped. And every outburst, every erratic behavior, is a reaction to years of emotional and physical abuse. Suddenly, everything makes sense. The locked doors. The paranoia. The missing maid. It was never Nina who was dangerous. It was Andrew all along. And now Millie is caught in his web. But Millie isn't just a helpless victim. She has a past. A criminal record. A knowledge of survival. And when she realizes the true nature of the danger she's in, she decides to fight back. No one else is going to save her. If she wants to escape the Winchester house alive, she has to outplay the master manipulator himself. The plan for revenge. Millie begins to work with Nina, quietly and cautiously. The two women who once saw each other as enemies now become unlikely allies. They share stories, whisper plans, and start plotting their escape. But this isn't just about leaving. It's about exposing Andrew. About making sure he can't hurt anyone else ever again. Together, they plant evidence. They record conversations. They bait him into revealing his true nature. And in the final act of the story, Millie and Nina turn the tables. The hunter becomes the hunted. The victim becomes the avenger. In a brilliant twist of fate, Andrew is arrested. His perfect image is shattered. His empire crumbles. And for the first time in years, both Nina and Cecilia are free. A new beginning, or the start of something else. After the dust settles, Millie walks away from the Winchester house with more than just her life. She walks away with strength, clarity, and a new understanding of herself. She's not just a housemaid. She's a fighter, a survivor, and a woman who refused to be broken. But Freida McFadden doesn't end the story there. In a tantalizing epilogue, we see that Millie has taken another job. Another wealthy family. Another big house. Another attic room. And we're left wondering, was this just another chapter in a long game? Or has Millie become something darker herself? The ending is ambiguous, chilling, and perfectly fitting for a psychological thriller that plays with perception, morality, and the fragile line between victim and villain. Themes that cut deep. At its core, The Housemaid is a story about power and control. It explores how appearances can be deceiving and how easily the truth can be buried beneath charm and money. It challenges the idea of good versus evil, showing that sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. Freida McFadden also delves into the psychology of abuse. Through Nina's character, we see how trauma warps behavior, how victims are often portrayed as unstable, and how abusers manipulate not just individuals but entire narratives. The book is a masterclass in showing how emotional warfare can be just as brutal as physical violence. Millie's journey is also one of redemption. She starts as a broken woman with no direction and ends as someone who takes control of her fate. She represents the strength of those who refuse to stay down, who fight their way back even when the odds are stacked against them. Why this book grips so hard? What makes The Housemaid so addicting is its relentless pacing. Every chapter ends on a cliffhanger. Every revelation deepens the mystery. McFadden uses short, punchy chapters and sharp prose to keep the tension high. You can't help but turn the pages, eager to see what happens next. But it's not just the plot that hooks you, it's the characters. Millie feels real, flawed, and human. Nina is complex, both terrifying and sympathetic. Andrew is chilling because he's believable. He's the kind of person who exists in real life, hiding behind a perfect image. That realism is what makes the story so haunting. And just when you think you've figured it all out, McFadden pulls the rug from under your feet. The twists are not just shocking, they're smart. They make you reevaluate everything you thought you knew. They linger long after the final page. Conclusion. The Housemaid by Freida McFadden is more than just a thriller, it's a psychological chess game where every move counts and no one is who they seem. With its chilling twists, emotionally layered characters, and unrelenting suspense, this novel pulls you in and refuses to let go. It forces you to ask hard questions. Who do we trust? How far would we go to protect ourselves? And when the world pushes us into a corner, what kind of person do we become? Whether you're a fan of suspense, psychological drama or stories about female empowerment, The Housemaid delivers on every level. It's a roller coaster ride that keeps you guessing, keeps you tense, and leaves you with a final question that's hard to shake: what happens when the housemaid becomes the master of the house?